Ladies and gentlemen, grab your tea. It's Tea Talk time where the topics are real, relevant, and relaxing. And here is Lady O. It's Tea Talk time.
Thank you, Shelley. I'm sorry. Thank you, Tracy. I'm looking, thinking about Shelley here, but that is Tracy, Miss Elegant Tracy here. So thank you for that introduction and welcome to Tea Talk. I am so happy to have all of you here today, and we are in for a wonderful, wonderful session today. So as Tracy said, grab your tea. It's Tea Talk with Lady O. And listen, I'm so excited today. It's a dreary, rainy day outside, but I have a woman here who's going to bring the sunshine into your life today as you hear about her. So don't worry about the rain. We're about to put some sunshine in your day, right? Well, listen, I tell you, I got up this morning. Grandchildren here with me, and it's just been a marvelous day celebrating the Lord's Day. And I went outside this morning and got some greens out of my garden. You remember my garden from last year that I planted this time? Well, I have greens, collard greens. And so I'm going to be eating those for dinner. And we will have the show. A lot of you asked that we bring back the gentleman who spoke and helped us get our garden started. So we're going to have those back because I need to tell him what to do. Tell me what to do when the garden freezes, like we had this freeze that we did not expect. So we're going to have him back on very soon. So kind of keep a watch out for that. But today, I am so excited because March is Women's History Month. And I'm excited about it because I get to celebrate women, and pastors saying, when is this month going to be over? Everywhere he looks, they're talking about women. And I tell myself, look, we really have done so much in this world and gotten so little recognition in some areas that we deserve a whole month. So he said, well, when is the men's month? I said, Father's Day. So, but anyway, I am just so honored to have my guest today because she is someone that a lot of people may not know, but you're going to know her after today. And I was just so happy when Pastor came home and told me that, hey, we had a young lady that we know that got Principal of the Year in the district. Well, first of all, those of you, most of you probably are a part of Cypress Fairbanks ISD. And I taught there for several years and was a counselor. And so to hear that we had a woman get this award, and not only a woman, but an African-American woman, I was just overjoyed. This is a great accomplishment. So she is none other than Dr. Cheryl Henry. She's a principal of Cypress Springs High School, and she is our Principal of the Year. So Dr. Cheryl Henry, would you come on and join us to Tea Talk Time? Say hello.
Well, hello. And first of all, I just want to say I am just so honored to be here, and I just feel blessed. And thank you so much for asking me to join you today. It's a blessing.
Oh my goodness. Well, I tell you, it is so much for me too, because we have so many heroes in this world, and you are one of ours, and representing us in this way and with this honor. I am just, in awe. So I want to know everything about you. And our viewers want to know everything about you. So where are you from?
So it's interesting. So I call myself a sixth generation Texan who was born in Los Angeles. So my parents were born here in Texas, and they can go back to both of their great grandfathers. My dad from Camden, Texas, and my mother from Taylor, Texas, originally. But my dad was in the Marines, and he was stationed in Camp Pendleton. And so they met in Acres Home, went to church there at Greater Zion Baptist Church.
Oh
my great uncle was S.B. Parker, the late S.B. Parker.
Yes.
But our family grew up in Los Angeles, and in 2005 my family moved back here to Texas.
Wow, that is an amazing story. I have a daughter in Los Angeles. She's in Tarzana.
Okay.
Yeah. So
In
we
the
go,
valley.
yes, in the valley. It's beautiful out there, and I love to go visit. So we have a lot in common then. So you actually grew up in California, but your family's from as we say here, the fofo.
The fofo, that's right, in Acres Home. The place
Well,
where I
that is
went for summer vacation every summer.
really wow. Wow, well, that is great, and I love as they say the fofo, but it's really the 4-4. But they say fofo if you're from there, so y'all understand. I'm not speaking Ebonics. That's actually the way they actually say it, the fofo. Okay, so now, okay, so you were in California. I just heard you say too that your father was in the military. So
Yes, he
you
was in
are
the Marine
what are they,
Corps.
the Marine Corps. That's what I thought you said. Whoa. So that's where you get a lot of your discipline. Tell me about that. What was it like growing up with a father?
Well, so we weren't. I'm not a military brat. He
Okay.
served his 4 years during just after the Korean conflict, and
Uh-huh.
then he and my mom both worked in the aircraft industry. But they
Oh.
were, well, like all parents. You what they said was what they said, and we did what we were supposed to
Exactly.
do.
And as a result of that, look at what you've become. And I know you've got some wonderful pictures that I want to see. I think you have one of your father too, don't you?
I do. So that the picture that's there, if you see, we were all in Los Angeles, and
Let's look at
it's
those pictures, guys. Can y'all pull some? We'll just go over the picture. You can tell me what it is when it comes up. Let's see. What's
okay.
the first
All right.
picture?
Let's see.
Okay.
So it's so that's my family. That's my husband Vernon. We've been married for 30 years. And my
Wow,
two
congratulations.
beautiful, successful daughters, we're so proud of them because although both my husband and I were first generation college students, we were
Okay.
blessed to just set a legacy for our daughters to go to college. And my youngest daughter, Jalea, who's on my left
Okay, I
with the
see here.
glasses,
Uh-huh.
she just graduated with her master's, and she's a marriage and family therapist. And my
Oh,
oldest daughter, who is on the other side, the one without glasses, she is actually the head orchestra director at Rowe Middle School. So they just
wow.
make me proud.
Oh my goodness, great. Well, we're into colleges too. So where did they go to college?
So they both went to college here. Jalea graduated from U of H, and Imani graduated from SAM.
All right. Wonderful, wonderful. And where did you graduate from? What's your
So
name? Never
I was just really, really blessed. I did my undergraduate work at UCLA, graduated from
Okay.
UCLA, and got my master's from Stanford. And
Okay.
then once we moved to Texas, I was at Texas A&M the same time you were, but in a different program. So I got my doctorate from Texas A&M.
Wow. So we got a lot in common. Okay. This is why I
Yes,
love to get
ma'am.
into all of this because we have so much in common. Oh, and I see a beautiful wedding picture over to my left um,
Yes. So
from
that
30 years.
1990, my husband and I got married in Los Angeles, and you see the old school 4-tier wedding cake there. And we did, like everybody else, save that top tier and celebrated on our first year, froze it and ate it. It was delicious.
Exactly. I was telling you that when I saw that picture, I thought about my mom because my mom made wedding cakes like that. So I know that's back in the day, but I bet that was a good cake. Some of the cakes now cost a lot of money and they don't taste worth nothing. But that
No,
that is beautiful. I love your dress
neighborhood
too.
bakery, it was delicious.
Okay.
And then
All
this
right.
picture that's showing right now, this is on
Yeah.
inauguration day this year, and we were celebrating Chucks and Pearls with our new vice president. So all the ladies on campus that wore Chucks and Pearls came together to take this photo.
I love it. I love it. Now, are you a part of any sorority?
I am a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Okay. I
And
knew it. I knew it. But I just wanted to make sure. I mean, I love all the others too, but ain't no way to go but EST.
well, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And
All right, Tara. Okay. And I
Fort
think
Bend Alumni Chapter, want to give a shout out to my chapter.
okay, which alumni chapter is it?
Suburban Fort Bend.
Okay, Suburban Fort Bend.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, and I know they had another picture. Is that all the pictures
Oh,
we have?
so if we go back to that picture
Yeah, because I got to
where,
go with your dad.
yeah, so
Mhm.
a couple of years ago, well, 2 years ago, before the pandemic, it was in
Right.
2019, my dad turned 85, and
Wow.
we all came out and celebrated and had a birthday bash. Well, just kind of a get together. We got a chance to
Yeah.
see all of our relatives.
It's the
And
blue picture. Can you go back to that picture with all of everybody on it? We didn't talk about the one with her family. It's got her mom and dad on there. They had on blue, looks like family reunion
it
kind
was
of
on the
picture.
same one with the wedding cake next to it.
Yeah, with the wedding cake.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
Yes. And so
Okay, now
that's at
tell
my
me who this
parents'
is.
house. And that's my dad in the center, my mom next to him. And so my dad is 86, my mom is 84. They've been married for 65 years.
Oh my
And
goodness.
these are my siblings. My oldest brother sitting next to my dad. My youngest brother, well, that's me. Next to my brother in the green shirt, second oldest. My sister and brother next to them are actually twins. And my brother, who
Oh,
is standing on the right, he actually moved to Houston a year after we did. So he's my neighbor. He lives around the corner, and it makes for a nice,
oh,
family get-togethers, and we take care of each other.
that is wonderful. So that your mom and dad are on their home that they're in now is an Acres home?
No. They live in Los Angeles.
Oh, they're still in Los Angeles. They stayed there,
Yes.
huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're still in Los Angeles. And so I have a lot of family in Los Angeles and in Houston.
Okay, good. So you get to go to see we got something else in common. We go to Los Angeles to visit relatives, and
At
we're here
least
in
twice a
Houston.
year.
Wow. Well, listen, I want to talk a little bit about your dreams and aspirations as a little girl. Had you always wanted to be a teacher or a principal? What did you want to be when you were little?
So it's so interesting. I always wanted to work with kids. I thought I was going to be a pediatrician. And so I went to school knowing that I majored in psychology. I was going to go to med school. And as time went on, I just wasn't as interested in that. I got very active in our Black Student Alliance on campus, started doing a lot of community service, thought about my own, especially my middle school years. And
Mm-hmm.
the teachers that were great, the teachers that were not so great,
Mm-hmm.
started tutoring and just doing things in the community. And I just decided, I think I'm going to be a teacher. And that
Wow.
one day I wanted to open my own school,
Yeah.
and run my own school. And as I began to work, I realized that I was not a private school champion, that I'm a public school champion, because the majority of students who really need the best teachers are in public school. And so I
Wow.
just wanted to make sure that I would be the best teacher possible in a public school, and then one day run a campus. I've been
Mm-hmm.
blessed to be able to, I was the principal at Campbell Middle School for 5 years.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
then this is my 6 year as principal at Cypress Springs, and I would not have it any other way. I love our campus.
Wow. Now, when you started teaching, did you teach in high school or elementary school?
So I taught in middle school first. I started as a middle school teacher, and I was a social studies teacher. So I've taught everything from 6th grade to 12th grade social studies, except for Texas history, because I never took Texas history because I didn't grow up here. So
Right.
I've taught everything else. I started in middle school, and then I moved to high school, and really, really loved teaching in high school. So
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, the best place to teach is in high school. It's a lovely place to be an administrator in middle school, because
Mm-hmm.
you're affecting lives so much.
Yes.
I
Yes.
talked to someone who said, I just want to make sure I affect lives. Well, you're going to affect lives no matter where you are.
Right.
So, but it's just it's a calling, it's a ministry. And
Right.
if you don't love kids, it's not the job for you.
Exactly. You know, when you were first talking about your career as you were, I wanted to do this, and then I got involved in this and serving and da da da. I could just see that God had his hand on you and was orchestrating your path to where he created you with the gifts and passions to be able to do what you do. And I'm sure that's probably why you got this great award. So do you really think that God created you to be this principal for such a time as this? And because we're going to get into the COVID situation it takes a very special person to be able to navigate the waters through difficult times like this, and then to be able to be chosen as the one that's the best, to be honored. Tell me a little bit about this calling. How does God help you? Just kind of talk to me about what it's been like this year and how you feel like God has guided your steps to help you best to love working with the students and the parents.
Yes. Well, let me just say that he has kept me. That is just my theme for this year. God has kept me.
Yes.
And even when I was in grad school at Stanford, a friend of mine asked me, "Why are you going to Stanford and to be a teacher?" And I said, "Wouldn't you want your child to have the best teacher possible?"
Yes.
And so I do believe that I've always just had a heart for helping people, and that's what you do every day. And this has been a very, very challenging time. Our teachers have been asked to pivot and to do so much. And there's so many people putting so many demands on teachers and not even realizing the things that they're doing, the sacrifices that they're making every day, just to be with the children that they love and to do what they love. And to start.
Now, let's talk about a couple of those sacrifices, because I want to make sure people know that, because, even when I was teaching, there are so many sacrifices that we made. And, teachers don't make that much money. It's better now than when I was teaching years ago. But I'm buying stickers and all kind of snacks and things to decorate out of my own little salary. And then they're expecting you to do so many more. So now I cannot even imagine having to go to school without, without having all the equipment I need and the support. Tell us about that. What are teachers going through right now?
Well, I think just to start with walking through the door every day. Knowing that you are walking through the door with the school with 2,500 students, and you don't know, because you can't see this disease, you can't see this virus. So just starting there, getting up, getting dressed, and walking through the door. That's the first one.
Yeah, because you don't know what the students have come from and what their homes look like. You don't know what their parents are doing.
It's a lot. That's a lot by itself.
That's a lot.
Now, I have to say, our district has been very supportive in providing just items for us. We have all the PPE, and I was like, we need PPE. So we have all the masks, all the gloves, all the plexiglass, and we have processes in place. So I feel like that part has been taken care of. We've also paid for some resources that teachers can use to help them with this whole digital piece, because that's the other one. When you've been used to teaching face to face all the time and doing things on the computer were extra, now it's required. And people had to learn it like that.
Right. Oh my God. And that would be my biggest one, because this era has pushed us all, the church, everybody don't know anything about social media. If you don't know anything about computers, you had to learn. You either, as they say, sink or swim. We had to learn to swim on the job. So so going back, let's take that's two things you told me about, but I would go back just a minute, and I want to make sure that I'm making this really, really clear, because sometimes I know parents can get so consumed with them and their children and so forth, and they don't think about it. Sometimes they put demands, or sometimes some can be really mean. put it like that. And and I know they're going through stuff, but sometimes they take it out on the teachers. You're supposed to do this, and you didn't do this. So because I want you to think about teachers another way when you have your complaints, or if they didn't do something just right. So when you look at the fact that they're walking into a building every day with knowing that there's a disease out there that could kill them, a disease that they could take back home to their little cute children and their husbands, and it could kill them or their grandparents. So, it's a stressful situation just to get up. And I know I talk to a lot of my teacher friends that are prayer warriors, and they say, I have to pray a day because I love my kids. I love what I do. But reality is I'm human. I don't want to catch it. And I don't like it that I'm being put in that situation. So I wanted to kind of stress that, and also thank our district, our superintendent and our school board and everything. They have really done the best that they could with what they've been given. But if you really watch the news, a lot of it's out of their hands. I mean, there's a lot of things that are not coming down to them, and a lot of things are going haywire. So, and it just caught us all off guard.
Yes.
And I just feel very badly for superintendent and all the people that are trying to work to make it. I know they're dancing as fast as they can, but it's still, the teacher is the one that's in the classroom with all of the children and getting exposed to multiple children in families that we don't know anything about how they live. So I just wanted to say that, and wanted to say from me and from everybody that I know, we want to thank all of our teachers for the amazing sacrifice they do. Because here's the deal. If we don't have anywhere for our kids to go in the daytime, the parents can't go to work, they can't pay the bills, the kids aren't learning. So teachers, we want to applaud you. I just want to take a minute to just applaud you and acknowledge what you're going through. Now, this other thing with the computers, I tell you, the parents are like, what? I got to teach my child on this computer. How is that going? What's going on with the computer thing? Give us some advice. What do you think?
Well, so we know our students they're so much far ahead of us already with all of this. So the students are doing okay. It's but they see so much going on around them, and not everyone's in a different place in this storm. We're all in the same storm, but we had a speaker come the other day, and she talked about some people are in a yacht, some people are in a canoe, and some people are just flapping, trying not to drown in the water. And so it depends on where they are.
Right.
But we're here to try and help to bridge that gap, and everybody's got to be patient with each other. And so that's one of the things that I've just tried to do. Nobody's getting in trouble. And this is not about getting in trouble. This is about getting through this year as unscathed as possible, learning as much as we can, and hopefully being able to set a tone to close the gaps when we come back next year.
Yes. And so I know too, just giving out information that I'm not quite sure if it's out there yet, but I kind of heard that some summer school might be going on to help the children catch up from what they lost.
And so that's a blessing. Our district is providing summer school for anybody who wants to go to summer school, and it's going to be free. No one is going to have to pay for summer school. So another opportunity for teachers. Well, teachers are going to be tired.
Right.
And so I'm very concerned about recruiting enough teachers to cover summer school for the number of students that I'm sure will be participating. But summer school is going to be available.
Well, I told Pastor, who's on the school board, I said, let me just put my 2 cents in for the teachers. I said, probably a lot of them are going to want and need a break. So I would probably want to put that word out there for teachers who might be retired or who, want to help in, they're not working anymore, that they might want to come in and help. And especially always look out after all students, but our minority students are usually the ones that are already at the bottom. You know, they're low. And so to see the gaps that are going to be there is just really something else. I just really wonder about that. Okay.
Yeah, I think that our students of color, that they're different ones are struggling in different ways, and that many of them have not returned to in-person learning, but there are reasons for that. You know, some of them may live in multi-generational homes, and their parents are afraid to bring in that virus to perhaps their parents or grandparents. And so just making sure that we have plans in place to try to close those gaps that will exist for all students, but particularly for our economically disadvantaged and some of our students of color.
I'm hoping and praying that we put the word out there that teachers will volunteer, maybe that are retired, come out of retirement, and get in here and help, because I want to also tell Pastor that I'm hoping that our churches can really get in there and help as well, because you know, we've always jumped in and helped out wherever we were needed. So I want to just kind of put that word out there, because I had heard that, you know, I'm always hearing some things sometimes, and I thought it was for sure. And they said transportation, everything's going to be available. So make sure your kids are there, and churches, if you got churches, you know, maybe start some tutorial programs to help. We're that village, okay? We got always when something happens, we got to pitch in and make it happen. Okay. So so tell me about your staff, okay? Because I know that if you're going to be a great person that's being honored, you can't do it all by yourself. Tell me what about your staff?
And that's what I told them. First of all, it's you know, this is an honor that's it's bestowed on you by your peers. You're selected by your group of peers. So of the group of middle school and high school principals, that's how the selection was made. So that's a great honor. But what I told my staff and my students is that it's an honor for our school, because I can't do anything by myself. I can't do anything without having great teachers, supportive teachers that are coming to school every day, working hard for the students, and our students, whether they're online or in person, them working hard and doing a good job, you know, coming to school with a purpose. And that's what we've seen this year. We haven't seen a whole lot of foolishness. Everybody is targeted and on purpose in everything that they're doing. And I just feel blessed to have such a phenomenal staff that is supportive of our students. And that's how they support me, when they support the students, because that's what it's about. If it weren't for those students, there'd be no need for any of us.
Exactly. And you know, I always tell my my children whenever they're having problems or something at school and with the teacher or whatever, and let's just face it, it happens sometimes, and tell them go to the principal, because that principal can set that pace and correct it in a loving way, because she loves her teachers, but she loves the student. And that's what it's all about. So if you've got a good captain driving that ship, then everybody else is going to get in line and go the same direction that you're going in. And I just want to thank you for, you know, sharing with us today, because I feel like the people that are at your school, but also your community and at First Metropolitan are now know you a whole lot better. And I tell you, when I was teaching, I had so many of my parents say, and I'm so happy to have a person teaching my child that loves children, that loves the Lord, because a lot of my parents are Christians, and that meant a lot to them to know that their children were going to be handled in that manner. So we just want you to know we are supporting you in whatever way we can. So is there anything that you can say that to parents that are out there trying to still do the virtual or whatever, that they can do to support? Can you encourage them or anything, say anything to our parents?
So, yes, first I want to tell young Mr. Babin he's not in trouble.
Okay.
And then what I would say is that just continue to you got to show up, and if you have a problem, for those who are virtual, if you have something going on, talk to your teacher, email your counselor, because we're here to help you. We want everyone to be successful. We want you to pass all of your classes this year so that you don't have anything to make up. Nobody is judging you. We're not judging your home. We just want to see you, and we want you to do well. If you need help, that's what we're here for. And parents too, call us, email us if you have a question or a concern. We want to know that, because we can't help you if we don't know about it.
Perfect. And thank you so much for easing that down and it's okay to call. We want you to call.
Yes.
Yes,
right, I would rather you call me than talk about me on Facebook or Nextdoor. Give me a chance to help you out. That's what I'm here for.
Exactly. And I always used to tell people that when they had problems spelling principal, that the one that we have is a pal. It's a friend. So it's PAL at the end of principal, not PLE. And that's how you can remember it, that your principal, your pal, she's there to support you, the students and the parents. So I want to just congratulate you again. It was so wonderful meeting you at this time and interviewing. And congratulations. We love you and we support you in this great award that you've been given. We can see that you deserve it.
Well, it has been my pleasure, my honor. And again, thank you so much for just providing this opportunity. I really enjoyed being on here with you today.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming. And it was our pleasure. Okay. All right. We'll see you next time. Okay. Wonderful. Wasn't she amazing? Okay. Well, I have another lady who's a friend of mine who's coming on next. And I know you guys have been waiting to hear her. She is in the house. And it's none other than Anita Carmen, and you know her as the leader of Inspire Women. Hello, Anita.
Hello, Lady O.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining us. And Anita, you've been around in Houston for many years, but a lot of people still may not know exactly who you are. So I want to introduce some of the people to you and the wonderful things that you do for women. I love your the title, Inspire Women. So how did you come up with that name, Inspire?
But Inspire Women was actually a name that the family, when we were gathering for dinner and coming up with a name for the ministry, my husband and both my sons were just scribbling names on a napkin. And then they unanimously voted that the name should be Inspire Women. So that's how it came about.
Wow. Well, listen, Anita, another thing I love about her too is that she loves the Lord and she's a family woman. She has a wonderful family. And so Anita, I'd like to get to know you, for the people to know you first personally. So where are you from and how long have you been here? Tell us about your journey to where you grew up and here.
So I was born in Hong Kong, and I came here at the age of 17. On a scholarship to an American university. And I actually came 6 months right after my mother had taken her own life. And it had been the family's dream to all come here together, but she wasn't able to make it. And I think when I left and came here, I was pursuing the dreams that she had for me. So I think her voice was very loud in my life, and I could not hear God's voice for me because I kept wanting to fulfill what it is that my mother wanted for me. And so for the longest time, I did everything that she really wanted me to do. I was pretty insane in the pace that I was doing it, because I thought that if I could do it faster, then maybe I could get to being happy sooner. And so I literally plowed through a 4-year program in 2 years.
Wow.
Went after that to get my master's degree.
We lost sound. Hold on, check your mic and see if your sound clicked off. Okay, Pastor Johnny, anybody can help me with the sound there? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to keep talking a little bit and see if we can get your mic. It's just whenever you. Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay. All right.
Great.
Oh, good.
Yay.
So I went on for my master's degree, and then I went into corporate America, and I was really climbing that corporate ladder and doing all the things that people told me that you should do to pursue the dream, and bought my first.
Okay, look like we're having a little problem with the internet there. It's raining. So I'll just, when she comes back in, there you go. You just keep freezing. It's the internet or something, I think, with the rain, but that's okay.
Well, I think what happened was I was 24 when I was in a car accident, and a truck had run a red light and plowed right into me, and the entire car collapsed around me, and I was squeezed in a corner of the car. Paramedics said when they came, they had to saw open the car to get me out, and they were so sure. They were so sure that I wouldn't make it. And I had a fractured hip, but other than that, I recovered in about 6 months. But during those 6 months, when I was in the hospital and I was in the wheelchair, it really made me kind of stop in my tracks to ask myself, what are you doing with your life? And all these things that you're chasing, at the end of it, when you get there, is that really what you wanted? And I think that I got really ambitious in that I thought, okay, I'm just going to turn my life over to God and I'm just going to serve Him. And I did not realize that God didn't need me. Okay, so it wasn't like I was doing God such a big favor, because I went to God with the attitude that, God, I am this very accomplished person and I'm going to be such a formidable force for your kingdom. And I was so surprised that God was silent. I mean, He literally had nothing for me. And so I just got really disgusted with that. And I just thought, well, if God doesn't need me, then I'm just going to go back into corporate America. I'm going to climb the corporate ladder. And I did all that. And then my son was born. Okay, so I got married, my son was born. And at 9 months old, he was rushed to the hospital because they found that he had asthma. And I went into a season where I could never know if he would wake up the next day. And I was just like a basket case. And I literally fell before the Lord and I just said, God, I can't live like this. I'm fearful all the time. I never know, what to do. I don't know how the air might affect him and his breathing. And I just remember the Lord saying to me, Anita, you're so stressed because you're trying to be God in his life.
Wow.
And you can't be God in his life. And that really changed me. So then I just said to him, then, Father, I thank you for however many days you let me have with him. And I just offered him to God. And then I also offered God my life. And this time when I came to the Lord, it was with a, Father, I'll do anything. Whatever my gifts are, use them in any way you want to. I have no agenda.
Oh my goodness.
I exist for your purpose, so you decide. And
now, how long did it take you to get to that point? Because I'm hearing you're on how many years did it take to get to the point where you just kind of threw up your hands and said, God, I surrender, whatever it is you want me to do?
It took about 10 years to get to the point where I was able to say, God, whatever you want.
Whatever.
But I think what surprised me was, even after that point of surrender, it took another 10 years of preparation before God actually gave me or entrusted me with the building of a ministry like Inspire Women. And I think the one thing I learned about God is that we are in such a hurry, to try to do great things for God. And I think what the Lord taught me was the vessel isn't ready yet. Okay, so
Mm.
whatever you think that you're capable of doing, you have no idea how deep he has to build your character before you will have the foundation to
Oh
carry
my.
the vision that he has for you. And really, when God actually started, whereas when I first started, I was so restless and saying, why can't I do more? Why can't I do more? And when I actually started, it was like, God, can you just slow down? I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. And so I think the
Which he
attitude,
already knew you weren't
yes,
ready.
I was like, the attitude was totally different. And
Yeah,
really seeing what were you thinking that you
right.
think you could possibly do this for God? And I thought, if you think you can do this for God, then you have
Mhm.
no idea what the vision is. Because
Wow.
the vision is so much bigger than anything you expected, that there's no way that you in your human flesh could say that I can do this for God.
Well, I want to, you just said so much in that it's just hard to unpack it, but I want to, before, I run out of time, I want to make sure I get your books. I know you have two books that you have written, and I wanted to just, can you tell us just a little glimpse about that book? And I know you have a leadership academy that I just went through, which was very, very wonderful, and everybody needs to go through it, because what you just said, I wondered if that's where you got all of those things from, the fears and the different things that leaders go through, wanting to jump and move, and when it's not time. So was
So,
that book
yeah.
inspired?
Well, I think that a lot of times, God has been a place where God will say, write it down. And I think whereas before I would think about writing like, oh, I want to be the next, best-selling author. I want to have that great book. And I think what God changed in my heart was, what if I asked you to write a book and I tell you that nobody else is going to read it but me? Okay. What if it doesn't sell because I asked you to write it for me? And I had to wrestle with God saying, am I not enough? Or are you going to say, I'm only going to take the time to write this book if it's a best selling book? And he just totally changed my attitude when I realized that even my story, my writing, my teaching, anything that I do, it's really my way to worship him. And if he says, this is how I want the worship to be, then this is what the worship is. So he did ask me the two books I think that you're referring to. One is A Daughter's Destiny, and it talks about the story of my mother, of how she was raped as a teenager and how she was widowed at a young age, and the journey she went through all the way to her making the decision to take her own life, and how the daughter could have followed in her mother's footsteps, but for God. Okay, so how God intervened and said, no, this daughter, if she will choose for me, I have a totally different plan for her. And then birthed this ministry of Inspire Women from the mother I could not save. Birthed a ministry that is compelled by the passion that women would finish well, that you would know that God has.
That is amazing. When I was sitting here and I was taking a few notes here, just trying to kind of just glean, is such a wonderful story and testimony, that I can see how Inspire Women would be the right topic. And so, but many people say, how can you inspire other women when your mother was, depressed and raped and committed suicide, when your son was ill, and when you were in a car wreck and almost died in a wheelchair? How do you bounce back from tragedies or things that are horrific to be able to inspire somebody else?
Well, I think
And
that's actually what we teach at Inspire Women's Leadership Academy, is really teaching women that I don't care what family background you come from, and I don't care what your biological background is, but when you accepted Jesus Christ into your life, God wrote your name in a box in his family tree. You are now a member of God's family, and in every family, there is a family code of behavior. And it is really learning and affirming your identity and learning a process of how does a daughter of a king respond to life. And we use the emotions of loneliness, rejection, and fear, and we teach women how a daughter of a king will respond. So you start making decisions that would be glorifying to God, and you make decisions that will help you finish well. So I think that sometimes people say daughter of a king, and it's like a feel-good feeling, or it's a feel-good title. But for us, it's not just a title. It is a way of responding in life. It is a
lifestyle.
way of making decisions. How do you make decisions? So we actually teach women a process for how would you learn your royal family's code of behavior.
Right. So can you give the website address? Because I think a lot of women who want to be leaders could, I mean, it's easy to find. I mean, with just kid Anita Carmen, you're going to find it. But the Leadership Academy is very good. I tell you the thing I liked about it too. It said all the things like what you just said, how to make those decisions as a daughter of the king. But also, it's very easy to do in that they've got early classes on Saturday, which was my thing. They got late ones on Thursday. So there's a time for you. And you think, when I did the one on fear, and I was like, well, I don't really have any fears. Well, by the time I went through the class, I really understood what that fear was and how to address it as a daughter of king. So your website, how can people learn about this class?
Yeah, if you just go to the website, it's Inspire Women, that's one word, inspirewomen.org, and just click on the tab for the Leadership Academy.
Right. Okay, great. And the other book, the newest one, just got
out.
The
newest one, I think it's When Dreams Won't Die.
When Dreams Won't Die. I love it.
20 years later, and I think God asked me to write that when Inspire Women was finishing its 20th year. And people would ask me, aren't you burned out, after doing this for so long? And so I started asking, why is it that I feel the same passion as when I first began? And I think that that's where the Lord said, why don't you write in the book, what compels you to keep going so that others can learn from that and also know that how do you serve in such a way that you don't burn out? And I think one of the key things that the Lord taught me is sometimes when we're serving, we're very focused on what we're doing. Okay, we're very focused on what is it that we're doing. And I think what the Lord showed me was, he says, one of the reasons why you can keep going the way you do is because you weren't focusing on the what. You were focusing on the why. Okay. Wow. And if the why doesn't drive you, see, for me, it's like, don't you see the hurt that I felt when my mother was so deceived and she dreamed of coming to this country. And when U.S. immigration denied her petition and she felt that her dreams had died, and when she had helped open the way for her daughters to leave, she thought her life was over. A year and a half later, my father was granted permission to come. That dream could have been hers, but I felt like she gave up too soon. Okay, from the mother I could not save comes this passion that every woman would not give up prematurely and that they would trust that God has a plan for your life. And if you need someone to walk in faith with you and to encourage you and empower you, the Ministry of Inspire Women is here to help women to finish well. So I think that's what drives me.
Now, listen, I want to also ask you about, this is Women's Women History Month, and that's why I'm honoring you, because you're just such an amazing woman in every area. I've known you now, if you're Inspire Women is 20 years old, and I've known you for 20 plus years, because I remember when you first started to come and to gather and to put the word out there that I'm here and I've got something to offer. So I have been honored to follow you and to see what God has done in your life. I want to ask you, I know you're an amazing author, and there's plenty of books and things that they can get out there and you teacher, but let me ask you, as a woman, have you seen any obstacles that are, that you would say that may have caused you to want to quit, or maybe got you down, as a woman, it's not always as easy to lead or open something like this so big, because how many women would you say you've served over the 20 years? I mean, just give a roundabout count, yes. And then tell me what obstacles. I know Satan didn't let you do easy without any problems.
Well, I think we've reached thousands of women. We have over 45,000 women who have actually attended our events, and we have given over 1,800 awards. That's over $4 million that we have given out to invest in women. I think that the one thing the Lord has always shown me, and I think this is totally just a gift from God. I know a lot of people focus on the limitations. And they focus on people who might try to stop them or people who try to block them. And I think maybe because I was born in a country where I felt so helpless, I felt so small in the midst of millions of people, and our family didn't have much money, and there were all kinds of riots and things going on in my country. And I think that as a very young girl, I remember looking up at the stars one night, and I thought, wow, the God of the universe created all of this. And I just said, God, if you can see me, if you can hear me, I ask you to help me. Now, from that just very, very simple prayer, I think God totally recalibrated me, where when there are obstacles coming against me, I think what it is I actually, yes, I see the obstacles, but I don't focus on them. And the reason I don't is because God is so much bigger. And so it's almost like, wow, this obstacle is like a pebble here compared to this gigantic mountain that I'm standing on. I thought, why would I let a little pebble cause irritation in my spirit?
I love it.
And so I think that what it is if you find yourself feeling like you're buried by the limitations, I guess my invitation to you would be, how big is your vision? And it's the vision from the Lord, because when the vision is from the Lord, it is so huge that these obstacles become very small by comparison. And the one thing I always tell my staff, when we're in a time that is difficult, I would say to them, praise the Lord for the setbacks. Praise the Lord for the hardships. I said, because I would be so embarrassed if someone in the future looked back at the history of Inspired Women and they saw that we just sailed right through it. We just breezed right through it. I said, we should have a testimony of hardship that we're willing to overcome. We should have a testimony of a cost that we're willing to pay because his vision is worth it, and because he is worthy. He is worthy of your worship, but he is also worthy of your suffering as part of your worship. And so I think that, hey, the war stories we're going to tell and the battle stories that we're going to tell, they're going to be awesome. And we should be proud of that. And I'll say to them, the future leaders of Inspired Women may not have it as difficult because we at least have built the foundation. But I said, but the fact that we had to do it, where we had to build the foundation, that is a place of honor. That is a place that you shouldn't say, oh, I wish I had it easier. No, I don't wish we had it easier. I pray that we would stay committed and steadfast, and that the future generations could look back at what we did and be proud of us and say, I want to do that. So that's Well,
it's a great testimony to people who are coming along and trying to do these things that, yes, I did have some obstacles, but I didn't focus on that little pebble. I focused on my big God, my mission and my purpose, and I made it. But if we were to say, oh, I never had a problem, then that doesn't even leave room for people to see God working. And I tell people all the time, when you have obstacles, they come to make you strong and make you to stop and pause and see your obstacle is here, but to look even higher and say, but my God is greater. And every time you overcome that one obstacle, it gives you the strength to be able to know when the next one comes. Or I always say, this too shall pass, because my God had got me over the last one. He's going to get me over the next one. Now, talk to
Absolutely.
us about, because I know you have a conference every year, and I don't want you to get away without telling us about the conference
Yeah.
that's coming up.
Yeah. Our conference is going to be on September 11th. So that is a very key date. But the theme of the conference is Her Voice Rises. And so it is really about women learning about what is your message and what is it that you have to have the boldness to share, because God has entrusted you with a voice. And how will you use your voice for Him? And we have Joe Briscoe is coming back, and so is Priscilla Shira. They were two speakers who were with us from the beginning, and we're going to invite local leaders like yourself, Lady O, that we want you to be part of it so that you can share your voice with the city and be encouraged.
Well, we're going to save that date. That's September 12th. So it's going to be after 9/11 and 9/12.
No, September 11th.
It is September 11th or September 12th?
It's September. Is it Saturday, September 11th?
Well, you know what? We can look it up. But I wanted to make sure that I kind of get them to put it on your calendar to make sure you have not. I mean, the conferences that Anita gives. What is it?
September 11th.
It's the 11th? Okay. So that's a Friday?
Saturday.
It's a Saturday, and it's 9/11, September 11th, okay? And I want you to go to Anita's website anyway, kind of familiarize with yourself with the things that she has to offer. She is just a dynamic. And then when I was listening to your theme for the conference, that really is what I would say about you. I mean, I would say that about you. Her voice rises. You know, when you said her voice rises, that is you, Anita. All these years, no matter what you've gone through, and your voice has always risen. And I've always listened out, and I try to make all the conferences that she has, anything that Anita has. If I can be there, I'm going to be there. I mean, she even has some other the sessions you do twice a week, once a month. Forget what they're called.
We do our monthly circles.
Yeah, the monthly circles.
We do our monthly circles because it actually teaches the process that we teach at the Leadership Academy. But what I do in the monthly circle is I actually use personal challenges that I might have in my life. And then I show the women, how do I use the process that we teach in our academy in order to overcome those emotions and make decisions that are fitting for the daughter of the king.
Well, the banquets and the different conferences are all, fit to the title of Daughters of the King, because you will feel so inspired when you leave. I tell you every time I'm inspired, every time I leave or talk to her, she inspires me. Even sometimes she'll just send a little note, and I said, that's very inspiring. And you always inspire me, Anita. And I just wanted to honor you as a woman, a shero, a woman who has made great paths and made great strides, who has a voice that is heard and needs to continue to be heard. So save the date, and I just want to honor you and thank you so much for coming on, Anita. You are such a blessing to me, and I thank you so much. And we'll look forward to it at the conference. Okay. And in the Leadership Academy, and God bless you, and love to your beautiful staff, and love to everybody there. And we'll be praying for you. We know that you did get a lot of water damage there at your campus. So we know that, but it's going to be a great testimony, right?
Amen. Amen.
Amen. All right. Love you, Anita. Thank you for coming. Okay. Our time is up, guys. And that was amazing to honor these two ladies and these big sheroes that have made a great dent in our history as well as our future. So sign on and tune in for more of Tea Talk next week, where we will have some more women that you don't want to miss. We have a couple of them. I know, just going to put a plug out for this one at the end of the month. Marguerite King Mitchell, who is the author of Uncle Jed's Barbershop. So this one you want to have your children on there, because that book has been read in all of our campuses all over. What many of you all don't know, But Marguerite started out at First Metropolitan Church as a deaconess. And then when she went off and she wrote this book, and it has been over the world, I mean, over 10 years old, it's still selling, and people are reading about it every year. So save the date and look on Tea Talk Time to see when the other guests will be coming. But join us next week. We have another guest too. Shelly, I don't know if you can, Tracy, tell us about next week. I'm going to put you on the spot. If you had, I was going to say to share with you. I'm going to put you on the spot because our time is up. So thank you again for coming. Thank you for joining me for tea with the two lovely ladies that we had today. Share this with someone else. These ladies deserve to be talked about all over the town. Okay? We'll see you next week at 3 for tea with Lady O. We're out.